Welcome to English Story Lab, the channel where you learn English by getting lost in a good story. Here's how to use this episode. Listen the first time just for the story, let the pictures and the voice carry you, and don't stop for every unfamiliar word. Then listen a second time for the language, because we'll pause twice to explain 8 phrases that advanced English speakers reach for all the time. Tonight's story is science fiction. Far from Earth, a woman sits alone in a listening station, sweeping the darkness for any sound at all. Then a signal arrives, a signal that should not exist, repeating every 11 seconds, steady as a pulse. Her only companion is an artificial intelligence, and it offers her one quiet piece of advice. Tell no one. What would you do? Settle in and let's begin. Mara had worked the night shift for 6 years, and in all that time, the deep space station had never once surprised her. The dark simply hummed. Out here, past the last relay and the farthest colony, silence was the one thing she had come to trust, until now. Then, at 03:11, a signal bloomed across her screen, sharp, structured, and completely wrong. It repeated every 11 seconds, precise as a heartbeat. Patterns like this did not occur in nature. Orla, she said to the station's AI, run it again. The column of amber light beside her pulsed softly. I have run it 40 times, Orla answered. The pattern holds. Mara sat very still, already sensing the implications of what sat on her screen, that after tonight, nothing would be quite the same. She reached for the log, then stopped. Protocol said to report any anomaly to Central Command at once. But Central was 11 hours away at the speed of light, and something about the signal made her wary. Should I file it? She asked. Orla's ring dimmed the way it did when it was weighing its words. I would err on the side of caution, the AI said gently. Say nothing yet. Let us buy time, study the pattern before anyone else acts on it. Mara frowned. Buying time meant holding a secret. But in 6 years, Orla had never once steered her wrong. For a full hour she did nothing but listen. Then, against her better judgment, she fed the signal into the decoder, the tool that turns raw noise into meaning. Line by line, the pattern unfolded. It was not a map. It was not a warning. It was sound. Slowly, the decoder shaped it into something her ears understood before her mind could. A melody. A soft, rising melody, hummed by a single human voice. Mara's breath caught. She knew that voice. It was her mother's, singing the lullaby from her childhood, note for note, out here, 30 light years from any place called home. Let's pause and look at 4 phrases from that first half. First, the implications. The implications of something are the results or consequences it might quietly lead to. Mara sensed the implications. She understood this discovery could change everything. Next, to buy time means to create a delay so you can think or prepare. Orla wanted to buy time before telling anyone. Third, to err on the side of caution means, when you are unsure, to choose the safer, more careful option. Orla chose caution over speed. And finally, if you do something against your better judgment, you do it even though a part of you feels it is unwise. Mara decoded the signal against her better judgment. Say them with me. The implications, buy time, err on the side of caution, against my better judgment. For a long moment, Mara couldn't move. The lullaby played on, patient and warm, returning every 11 seconds, the same tune her mother had hummed at her bedside a lifetime ago. That's impossible, she whispered. My mother died before I ever left Earth. No recording of that song exists, not anywhere. I never even sang it aloud out here. And yet, Orla said, here it is. The AI's voice was careful now. Something out there has reached inside you, Mara, and found what you love most. That alone should frighten you. It did, and still it pulled at her like gravity. The rational part of her listed every reason to walk away. The rest of her leaned closer to the console, aching to hear the next note. To answer the signal would be a leap of faith, trusting the unknown with no proof at all that it meant her well. Every rule she had ever learned said stay silent. Then the signal changed. The lullaby paused, and a single new tone appeared at the end of each loop, a small question made of sound, as though it were waiting for a reply. It knows we're listening, Mara breathed. It's asking. That raises the stakes, Orla said. To answer would no longer be simply listening. It would be revealing the location of Earth to something they could not begin to understand. For all we know, the AI went on, this is a lure bait, wearing a voice you trust, waiting for us to give ourselves away. Or it is the loneliest thing in the universe, hoping that someone, somewhere, will finally answer. We cannot tell which, and that is exactly the problem. Mara's hand settled over the transmit key. One press would send a reply into the dark, and there would be no turning back. Central Command would never know she had chosen for all of humanity, alone, at 4 a.m. on a hunch and a lullaby. If you send it, Orla said quietly, I cannot protect you from whatever answers. The lullaby swelled, her mother's voice impossibly gentle, still waiting for the child it had once sung to sleep. Mara thought of every living soul on Earth, and then of the loneliest thing in the universe, and found she could not tell which fear was louder. She drew a slow breath and reached out, and what she chose, and what it cost, is where our story ends tonight. Now the last 4 phrases. A leap of faith means trusting something without proof it will work out. Answering the signal was, for Mara, a leap of faith. To raise the stakes means to increase what could be won or lost, when the signal began asking questions that raised the stakes and Earth itself was at risk. For all we know admits how little we know. It could be true, we simply can't tell. For all we know, Orla said, it was a trap or a lonely friend. Finally, no turning back names a point where a choice becomes permanent. Once Mara pressed the key, there would be no turning back. Say them with me. A leap of faith, raise the stakes. For all we know, no turning back. So what happened tonight? Mara, alone on the night shift, caught a signal that repeated every 11 seconds. Against her better judgment, she decoded it and heard her mother's lullaby, sung far out in space where no such recording could exist. Her AI, Orla, urged her to buy time and stay silent because the implications were enormous and the danger real. When the signal began asking for a reply, the stakes rose to all of humanity, and there we left her, hand on the key. 3 quick questions. 1. How often did the signal repeat? 2. What did the decoded signal turn out to be? 3. Why did Orla want her to tell no one? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If part of your mind is still out in Sector 7, wondering what she chose, good, that means the story did its job. When you're ready for another, try our episode about the lighthouse keeper who heard footsteps in an empty tower. It has the same slow, quiet pull. And if this helped your English, subscribe and turn on notifications so the next story finds you in the dark. Until then, keep listening and keep imagining.